kick it off right away. Turn it over to Josh to take us away with Company Communicator, an exciting new feature that has now reached GCC High. Josh, if you want to take over the screen share, feel free.
Absolutely. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for inviting me to this community call too. Great to be here. Like Danny said, my name is Josh Leporati. I work inside of Teams Engineering, specifically on a team where we are responsible for some of our engineering managed app templates. Some of the most exciting and fun work that we've been able to do and had the pleasure to do here in the past few months is work on a lot of our code base to get it ready for support in GCC High. So Christian and other folks on this Microsoft team that you all interact with daily have been great in helping us on the engineering side work together to make sure that we deliver these solutions out to you all in this environment, in this space. So one of the exciting ones that we focus the first work on is Company Communicator. If you have not seen or heard about Company Communicator, I'll do a demo here in a moment after I cover a few slides with it running in an Azure government space connected to a GCC High environment, and we're super excited for the work that's been done there. But like, what is Company Communicator to start with, real quick? And Danny kind of outlined the basis of this. Company Communicator is an open source solution that was developed and used a lot during pandemic for kind of just easy, lightweight communication sends directly inside of Teams. So if you're looking for a solution to very quickly and easily draft up messages and deliver it to your organization in Teams, great tool, right? So I can target and kind of specify the audience members in my organization that I want to deliver messages to or deliver them to all. And you'll see that when I go through the demo with it. But yeah, so real quick too, our team, like I said, we do work around a lot of these app templates. If you have not experienced, which it's kind of new into our GCCI environment, the premise of what we do with app templates, really our team's vision is to craft these and craft experiences inside of app templates that kind of show the art of the possible and add a bit more feature-rich functionality for some areas that maybe aren't directly there that you want to take, and you can load the versions that we have based with the features that we have. Or out of these, the code is open source. You could take and manage and add in feature sets or add in functionality that you may want to see happen there. But these are production ready templates available off of this link. You'll see all of our app templates. We are working to get all of them supported in GCC High. But right now, Company Communicator was our focus. So that'll be the first one you see. Real quick too, kind of how these app templates look, right? They're meant to be as lightweight as we can make them. Now they are custom apps inside a team, so there's a little bit of work to get them loaded and installed in your environment, but you've got a great team here with Microsoft that can help you through that process. And because these are supported by our engineering team, if you need help or assistance with any technical troubleshooting or issues, our team does watch and monitor the GitHub issues related for these app templates as well. So, right, real quick, Company Communicator, let's talk about when it's going to land. So I'm going to show the environment running live today. The code and the downloads will be available next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, you can pull this down and load it into your environment. GCC is actually going to come soon. We'll have GCC High functionality certified first, though, coming again on May 2nd for that. So real quick, the major features, and I'll just going to jump into a demo. Message creation. So easy and ability to go and create messages, alter these messages and kind of have them saved out as templates to send later on. You can control who can author messages, and basically there's two sides to this app. There's the author side where you're going to go and set and say, hey, only these folks can go and author and create messages. And then the other side of the app is the user, kind of the user side where they would receive the messages. And you can deliver it in multiple areas. So they may not always need to see the user side app. You may deliver the messaging inside of a channel, but I'll showcase those two differences. Talked a little bit about audience selection. So the ability to send out to either selected teams, selected channels, into one-on-one chats with everyone in the organization or selected users from teams in the organization, as well as any pre-existing Microsoft 365 groups or distribution lists. So we can target the audience to send based on that. Lightweight metrics around messages. So we will show you the send and failure rates on that. You can see that both from the dashboard as well as from a download that's available after the message sends. And then with the latest version, we also have Markdown and image upload support. This is the full version. So if you've seen this run in other environments, this is the same code base. We've done the work to make sure it's feature parity for GCC High. So all the same features are there, meaning we've got Markdown support for when you go and craft the message and image upload support for when you want to go and add the image into it. So I'm going to jump into the demo now and just showcase it real quick. 1 second while I make this swap. Okay. So can I get a reaction or something that I am sharing a screen now? Can you all see a?
You're all set. Yep.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Danny. Okay. So here's where I'm homed in right now. We have Company Communicator deployed inside of our GCC High tenant. You see right now I'm inside of a team where I have the Author app pinned. Now we can get into, and happy to talk about this in the chat after this demo goes, about the kind of best practices of how maybe you would look to deploy this and who would use it. Typically though, right, you're gonna either designate who can have access to that Author app or just put it in a team where only folks in this team will go and use it. You can see a couple of things from my dashboard. You can see the sent messages I have. You can see the recipient count, when it was sent, and who it was created by and sent by. And then draft messages up here, you see I have no draft messages. So the first thing I'm going to do is, right, I've got some ask from the organization or from my department or group or whoever wants to send the communication out that, hey, we need to send something out and get it delivered to an audience. So the first thing I would do is come to Company Communicator Author app. I'm going to click on New Message. And here is my creation screen, right? So it's going to ask me for title, image, summary, author, and a call to action button. So let me fill this stuff out real quick. CC coming to GCC High. I'm going to grab an image. I can either give it a URL to point to and load the image, or I can upload my own. I'm just going to grab my own and upload that. And now I have my summary. So this is where we support the Markdown formatting too. So I'm going to say CC coming to GCC High, right? That'll bold and then get the solution now. So you can see, right, I can format this message. I can change some of the options here. I've crafted my general message, author. This is going to be free form, right? So I can put either a department name, my name. It's not going to grab who it was created by. Now I'm going to log that, right? I'm going to have that information in the dashboard. Doesn't necessarily have to be me. So I could say this is from my IT department. Button title, this is our call to action button. So we will give you the option to overlay one button with a URL attached to it. So I can say, find out more, and we'll use HTTPS www.bing.com. So you can see on the right-hand side, I've got a message preview. I could click this link to make sure I actually typed it in right. Great, got that. Everything looks good. I'm going to hit next.
Hey,
this
Josh,
is where I'm going to.
before we move on, real quick question that's related to this opening screen here. Does the summary serve as the alt text, or is there a way to ensure alt text for the image?
So the summary does not serve as the alt text. It would not serve as that. So I'll have to see if we could provide a way that you could provide the alt text. Out of this format, there would not be. Good question, though. Okay, so on this screen, you can see this is where I would target where I would send this message to. I've got 4 different options, and I'll kind of explain all 4 real quick. So the first option is going to be to send to the general channel of a specified team. So the way that I would load in my teams into this list would be I would need to add in the Company Communicator app into those teams. I only have it in this one team. If I had multiple, I could go through and select those. I do not have to be authoring this message from the team that I want to deliver it to, right? So the typical workflow here could be, I have this loaded into the teams. I don't have it pinned as a channel app in these teams, but whoever my comm group is or whoever's going to distribute the messages can go into one group and be able to send into that. Now, we do have some organizations that would separate the deployments out. So maybe they want one group to have access to 12 teams to send to, and another group access to another 12 teams. They would have multiple instances of this deployed, separating that out with the app named appropriately. So maybe it's targeting an external community, or not an external community, but an external group to your group, named that way. If I don't do that, I'm just going to see all the available possibilities here. So if I were to select this, that would basically designate my message to go to the general channel of that team. Second option I can do is send the chat on one-on-one to the members of a team. So same premise here, because I'm available in this team, I can go and capture the members of the team, and I'll send this message in a one-to-one chat only to those recipients who are members of that team. Third option is send to everyone. So this option, like it says, for everyone in the tenant, I will send this message. They will all get it in a one-to-one chat. And then fourth option is where I can go and type in either the M365 group, security group, or distribution group of who I want to distribute the message out to. So those are my four options. For this one, just for the fun of Christian and the environment here, I'll send this to everyone in this tenant. I can still see my message on the right. My option then is to save this as a draft. So when we think about how would we go and create templates, or right, some of that best practice scenarios here, this is what I would do, right? I could create messages, apply my formatting, and have them pending. Once I have some draft messages out there, I can easily go and do a couple of things. I can duplicate this, so maybe I want to save it for later to send again. If I duplicate it, you'll just see a copy be created. In fact, I'll do that just for fun. So I could save this one to send out later. You can see a few other options. I can delete the message, edit it. I can preview and send. So preview is going to send it in the channel of this team in general. That's a good way just to test to make sure it looks right. So I'll do that real quick. I'm going to hit preview in this channel. It's going to send this message in the general channel. You can see I've got a new message now. I'll go back to post. Great. So here's what it's going to look like. Does it look right? If I can scroll all the way down, it looks like it should. So great. I'm comfortable with that. I'm going to go back here, and I am now going to choose the send option. When I choose the send, we'll show you a confirmation one more time. Hey, this is the audience. It's all users. Here's your message on the right-hand side. I will now choose send. So a couple of things are going to happen now. It's going to move into sent messages. You're going to see the status, and the status will update here as it goes and crawls and grabs the users. You can see I got a notification card from Company Communicator and a new chat. So I'll go look at that real quick. And there's my message. So quick and easy for me to go and send a communication. This one was out to my entire tenant. I can see that I cannot interact with this, right? It's a one-way send. So I'm not gonna be able to send messages back. We're not gonna capture reactions or anything from this. I have distributed a message out in this sense. From here, right, the user could read the information, click the link, they still go to Bing. That's all great. If I go back into team, I can see now that I had 18 successful sends, no failures. This metric is for a send, not a read. It is simply saying that, hey, the message was sent successfully to whatever the user endpoint was. I can go and grab and view the status here. Again, it'll show me how long it took, the breakdown of success and failure, that it was sent to everyone in the chat, when it started sending, and when it completed. The other message types, again, they're all going to look identical to a sense, but options 4, 3, and 2 will all be one-on-one messaging, where we're taking audience and doing selected sends based on that. And then that option 1, where we send into a team, that's going to look identical to my preview message send. So the same way that I previewed is the same way that it would actually send to. So typically you would probably have this pinned maybe in a separate team to do these test sends, or somewhere else where you're not, flooding a lot of messaging out there. But yeah, that's a real quick overview and preview of what this solution looks like running. It's meant to be very quick and lightweight to go and send these messages out. There is an Azure component that you deploy out, and then a Teams deployment for both the author app and the user app. But yeah, we will have this available on Tuesday. The code has been validated. We've got a few more things to push into GitHub. That is where you will find the official release, as well as the GCC High deployment guide that is going to be out there for GCC High deployments. So with that, I will hand it back over to Danny, and I'll go crawl out in the chat and see if there's any questions that I can answer. Please do feel free to put them out in chat.
Yeah, Josh, thanks so much. Great demo. I'll go ahead and facilitate some of the Q&A from the chat here. Awesome demo. Really excited about this capability. Yeah, so I know we all get and ignore hundreds of emails every day. So I feel like Company Communicator is another way to better communicate and meet people where they're working day to day, to get better visibility on messaging that we want to send out to groups, teams, or the enterprise. I guess the first question I have, and this is not a question in the channel or the chat right now, Josh, based on your experience and how you've seen Company Communicator used maybe in the commercial sector, what are some of the common use cases for Company Communicator? I mean, I can think of a number off the hand, but you're the expert here. And any thoughts on how it's most frequently used?
Yeah, Danny, great question. So, I mean, we had a lot, and I won't drill down all of these scenarios during pandemic response, but a lot used it during pandemic response for either sending out daily alerting or information about what was happening or what was open, what was not, attestation forms. A lot would use that call to action button, the button in URL that we give, to load in basically a trackable link, right? To say, hey, click here to go to this form, or click here to go to this site, to validate that you've read and acknowledge his message, or something like that. So a lot during pandemic response time of leveraging that, because we knew that users had Teams. They could access these messages from any device, because, right, it's going to send just like a normal Teams message. And we, on our side as a sender, could see if we validated success or not for successful sending or failure sends. So a lot around that. A lot around also this notion of lightweight, quick communication. I need to get it out now. And maybe it's that preferred medium of it being a Teams message, because emails sometimes are, noise or overlooked. It gives me another avenue to maybe heighten that importance or heighten that criticality on a message send, so that I have that medium available. We do also see a good bit, maybe not as often, but potentially a good use case around that multiple instance of this solution. And what I mean by that, and I kind of briefly talked about it in the beginning, is, hey, maybe IT needs their own form of Company Communicator to send out awareness or announcements, and then our communication department needs their own instance of this. And I can do that and break that up and control the authors, right, and approve authors based on different user groups or different user segments in my organization, and specifically name and categorize the communications coming from that department. So you saw the demo as me sending this as Company Communicator. That's unbranded, right? I could go and brand that to read out whatever I wanted the name of this application to be. And from the user perspective, it would come from that, and they would see that persona.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Yeah, I can see it being used in a number of capacities. I'm thinking things like you got a town hall, right? You want to get an enterprise message out to encourage folks to attend, or make sure they're aware of it, and have that
Yep.
link there. You could have if you need action from a group of users, right? Something's changing in the
Absolutely.
environment. They need to sign up for something, or do some action before they lose access. Who knows what, right? So the use cases are pretty much endless. But a couple of questions here. I answered one question. I'm gonna have you ask it for you to make sure we clear it up. The ETA for DoD, and I've been in touch with Rocky Quach. It sounds like it's not imminent, but it's not far off. I'm not sure if you have any line of sight to that.
That's a great statement on it, Danny. We have the environment and credentials to go and validate and test in DoD. We're finishing up GCC High. We're finishing up GCC. Then we will go turn to DoD.
Perfect. And Tina asks, I think we kind of answered this, but gonna make sure we double stamp on it here. Does this change capability now allow for larger messages to go across the company, or is it team site specific? I know you believe the answer is you said channels, group, M365 groups, or at an enterprise level.
That's right.
Okay. There you go. I answered it for you. Andrew asks, is enabling Power Apps a prerequisite for Company Communicator or other app templates? This has been a hang up with deploying custom apps.
It is not. This is there's no Power App requirement for this.
Okay. Do you have to be a member of the team to send it to the members of that team?
You have to. You do not have to be a member of. Hold on. Repeat that question one more time. Do you have to be a member of the team to send it in the
To the members of that team.
to the members of the team? No, the app has to be in that team though, and you have to be an approved author in Company Communicator. So even though the app is loaded into the team, if you are not an author of Company Communicator, you cannot send messages. The message is sent though in the context of Company Communicator. So the reverse could hold true. You could have the Company Communicator app loaded into a team and the author not be a member of that team and send a message to that team, but it would come from Company Communicator.
Perfect.
That's
Thank you.
typically where a lot will go and either do separate instances or really control that author permission ability there.
Okay, Travis asks, can you utilize location or other account details / descriptions to target a group?
Yeah, it's only for distribution groups, security groups, M365 groups, team memberships, or everyone.
All right, Jason asks, how do you control which distribution options each user has?
So in the current version, it is going to be available for all 4 of those options you saw. We do have a feature in the backlog to go and make roles so that you could assign those different send capabilities, those audience targeting capabilities, to unique roles. So maybe you have a send to everyone role and you only have 2 people with that permission, you could apply that. Again, that's work in our backlog. We are working on that feature, but it will not be in this release.
All right, Sean asks, does quote unquote everyone include guests? Great question.
It does not.
Does not. All right, Robert asks, if the team is private, can you still send to all members of the tenant, considering the team isn't readily visible to all members of the tenant?
If the team is, if it's a private team and Company Communicator has been added to that team, you can still send to that team. I may not be following where the everyone comment came in because the sending to everyone in the tenant will go and grab the user list outside of that team membership.
Right, right, okay. Andrew asks, can you use security trimming to restrict who has access to send messages to everyone, similar to limiting who can send to an Exchange distro group?
So you cannot. However, with the role-based access I was talking about earlier, about bringing that feature in to control who has access to those 4 different features to send, we also in a separate but ongoing feature work are adding in the ability to restrict based on who can send to already existing groups. So if you've already got security established to say, only these 7 folks can send to this DL, and somebody loads it in to Company Communicator to bring it into a Teams message send, we would honor that security on the group.
Okay, thanks for hanging in here, Josh. I'm going to keep it going because we got a little wiggle room here with the time, and I think these are great questions. So, Travis asks, does this require Flowbot? I believe the answer is no, but go ahead.
It does not.
Do messages populate in activity, quote unquote?
Yes.
Yes.
If it's well, actually, if it's a one-on-one send, and you have your notifications set for any missed messages, yes, but it's not going to tag, so you're not getting any tagging alert out of that, right? But you will get any missed notification alert there.
Adam asks, is there a plan to eventually track reads?
Yes, there actually is. We have that on our feature backlog work as well.
Great. Chris asks, are users generally find the conversation threading on the channel post tab unhelpful, instead choosing to use named and pinned chats? Is it possible to send these communications via email instead of posts?
It is not. So this solution was specifically designed to send messaging in Teams and only in Teams. And you'll continue to see that from Company Communicator, where we are going to isolate that this is a great solution for meeting and sending messages to users inside of Teams. But there is some great stuff coming from Viva that will help to expand where these targeted messages can go. But from Company Communicator, it will be just for Teams.
Okay. And I realize that Power Platform is not a prerequisite for this, but Travis asks, can you connect this to Power Automate so that if company-wide emails come in, you can turn them into Teams chats to all without intervention?
I have not seen that done. Doesn't mean that it can't be done, but I have not seen or done any of that work myself.
Are Company Communicator messages searchable in Purview? In other words, e-discoverable?
Yes, they are e-discoverable. They're going to be just like any other message that you get sent or any other message that's posted inside of Teams. You'll see that in that search.
Okay, we're near the bottom here. Is there any daily / sending limit of the number of recipients, teams, and 365 groups?
There is not. There is, as you go to a higher user count, right, it will take longer to send those messages out. I don't know the times that are going to be exact. I think in our testing, we were hitting around 2,000 users. I think it was around 15 minutes or so when we scaled to 2,000. So as you go a bit higher, you'll see that time kind of continue to increase. We are doing work to improve that. That'll be in a few versions to come where we actually can batch send some messages a little bit more efficiently. But no limit other than if you have a large scale you're sending to, you may have to either break that up or just know that it'll take some time to send.
Great. Okay, great. Last one here from Travis. How do you deploy this to all current and new teams so that all can get the message?
Yeah, so in our deployment guide, which I'll put a link to it in the chat too, we give a recommendation to go ahead and allow the user side app for all users when you go and deploy it to Teams. As long as you follow through with that default configuration, there will be no action required from the users and they will just receive the message if it's targeted to them. If you do not follow that and instead you want to target and deploy the solution targetedly to some users, that would be the limiting factor on that. But we recommend in the documentation, we'll show you the recommendation to go ahead and allow the app for users.
Okay. Awesome, Josh. I think that's all now. I think we covered
I
them
have
all.
one, Danny.
Oh, yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
I have one question. This is Christian.
Yeah, Christian.
How can I, as a customer, get Microsoft's assistance to deploy one, to deploy Company Communicator? Oh, I know the answer. Please, any customers that are looking to deploy in the month of May, we would still love to get some feedback on a few customers, as we've already done one deployment with one of our close customers. If any others are interested in deploying in the month of May so we can perfect everything, please reach out to your point of contact that's probably here on this call, and or myself directly if we already have a relationship, and we'll make sure that everyone's there and we will give you some assistance in getting it rolled out. We would still love to get a little bit more pulse on the deployment documentation and so on, just to make sure we got everything right. So please, if you're ready to roll out in May, we're ready for you.
Christian, thanks for that call to action. Really appreciate that. I do have probably a question back to you. The support and services required to partner and set this up, there's no, it's as a benefit, right? We'll make it happen with you. On the back end, there is a negligible, believe Azure cost associated, but it's very negligible. But any comments on that?
I think either Josh or I, you are correct. In order to do the deployment, you're going to need Azure Team. You're going to need the Teams admin. And Josh, is there anything around Exchange admin or anything like that, or is that covered?
That is not nothing needed on that. You'll need Azure and, like you said, Teams, and as long as you've got those two roles, you will be good.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you both, Josh, Christian. Thanks for jumping in there with your question and answer.